Welcome to Sisterhood Check-In. I am your host, Deidre Lewis, and I am excited to join the new year in 2023 with a new and bright perspective. I'm excited to be able to have my guest on today. She and I have been friends pretty much all of our lives. We met through her mom and my aunt. And we have a bit of a history, but I'm excited because I cannot wait to be able to introduce Diedre and give her the opportunity to share with us some of the things and her journey that she has been doing since the last time we seen her. But before we do that, I'm going to play a quick video for you. And the next person you will see alongside of me will be that of Deidre Sully.
Long before the beginning of all other beginnings, God is. In a burst of creative activity, God creates the world and everything in it. Humans are designed to live inside of this unique relationship, but they choose otherwise. The law of God is broken, and the heart of God is pierced. But the story isn't over. In the fullness of time, God gives his Son, born of a woman, born under the law. Jesus comes to seek and save those who are lost. Wounded for our transgressions, crushed for our iniquities. On the cross, God is in Christ, reconciling the world to himself. And with a loud cry, Jesus breathes his last. But the story isn't over. On the morning of the third day, the power of the living God erupts, breaking through death with the moment that will define all other moments. Perched at the edge of heaven, the angels stand in awe as one of their own rolls away the stone that's guarding the body of Jesus. As if anything can guard Jesus. He walks out of the tomb alive. He is victorious. He is conquering death and rendering the grave unnecessary. He is living and moving and breathing as only the risen Son of God can. But the story isn't over. We are, every one of us, searching and hoping and longing for life. It's a desire that's been deposited into our souls by the very same God who spoke it all into existence. And it's this exact life that the resurrection of Jesus invites us into. So bring your hopes, your regrets, your successes and your failures. Bring your doubts, your joys, your fears and your dreams. Be resolute and unwilling to settle for anything less than the abundant life of the risen King. Because truly, if the story isn't over, then what happens next might just change everything.
All right. And we are back with my special guest, Deidre Sully. But before I begin to introduce Deidre, if you are watching us via YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button so that you can be notified every time we upload a new video. If you are watching us via Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok, make sure that you hit like and share if you are blessed by the content that you hear tonight on Sisterhood Check-In. So thank you. Make sure you call up your friends and tell them, hey, girlfriend, Sisterhood Check-In is back on the air for 2023. So go get your coffee, your tea, and let's have some sisterhood time, and let's get into this amazing conversation with my special guest, Deidre Sully. Welcome to Sisterhood Check-In.
Thank you for having me. I wish you would have said something about the tea early because I literally just drank all of my tea. Like, oh, I literally like it while the credits were coming on, and I was like, let me finish this so I'm not tempted to drink. That's acceptable. I would have kept my tea. So yeah.
That's fine. That's totally fine. I usually have me a cup of tea or water, but I've had so much stuff going on today, Deidre. I didn't have time. And it's funny. I have a coffee machine. I have a pink Keurig right on my desk, right in front of me. And I still didn't have time because I was just doing it. Just seems like when you're preparing and you're doing the production and everything, when it comes to preparing
Mhm.
for like any broadcast that I do, it just seems like there's a lot of work that goes into it behind the scenes. So I can be preparing like hours early and I could be like, oh, I'm fine. An hour before, I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot to do this. Oh shoot, I got to do this. Oh man. Then when I sit down, I'm like, dang, I forgot to get my tea.
Like, oh, I did this on the wrong platform. Yeah.
Oh, darn. It's like I can't run the Keurig machine while I'm on the air. Then everybody to see will hear my Keurig machine because it's right by my IMAX. So, but it's cool. That's okay. I'll be able to get me some during our little short little break in between.
Okay.
So definitely.
I don't,
So Deidre, this is your first time here with us on
yeah.
Sisterhood Check-In.
Yeah.
So help my audience understand who you are, right? I know that you are an advocate, right? And I wanted to go ahead and read your bio so that since you sent me this nice, beautiful bio, so I'm going to read this bio and then I want you to talk to us about how you became the woman that you are today. Because the last time I saw you, it
Okay.
was many, many years ago. I think I was with Auntie Roz and we were at Carlia's house, I think. And I think at that time you were dating her brother, I think at that time.
Uh-huh.
And that was many, many, many years ago. I think you guys were like, I want to say that was maybe 10, maybe 15 years ago.
Very long time ago. Yeah. A lot of
Long,
things
long time.
and a lot of things have changed.
Wow. So I'm going to go ahead and read your bio and then I want you to share with us and talk to us about how you have gotten to where you are now because it's been a long time, girl, since we've talked or even I even seen you. A lot has changed, but I'm going to go ahead and read your bio and then I want you to get into a discussion and help us understand who you are. So Deidre Sully is an experienced public health professional with an 18-year tenure in the arena. She has proven success in partnership building, linking both public and private entities, community outreach, and education, and influencing policy change. Deidre is also an active member of the community of Anu, where she is called Yafi or Yafe.
Mhm.
And it's a movement that is a dedicated service, family, and community culture. She also uses her networking and outreach skills to serve her community's nonprofit. I Knew Life Global Ministries, where she heads up the Rap initiative and other community outreach projects that aim to serve those in need. It is through direction from her head that Deidre Yafe began her own public health focused podcast, True Health Live, where she is one quarter of the co hosting team for the show. By facilitating health workshops and training and learning opportunities, Deidre educates the community members, nonprofits, and fellow public health professionals to gain deeper understanding of both personal and public health advocacy. And as we're actually talking, I'm going to go ahead and put her website up here. But while I'm doing that, go ahead, Deidre, talk to us about your journey. Talk to
Yeah.
us about who you are and how you have become the woman that you are today.
Well, it's been a long journey, like, but I will say, like, the woman that I am today is possible because of my head, as you mentioned in my bio, and that is specifically because of Anu Life Global Ministries, which is the nonprofit of the community of Anu or Anu Nation. Um, yeah, like I think like many people, especially like melanin dominant people, like I'm just moving out and about. Um, as a woman uncovered by myself, like I'm doing it. I'm doing an independent thing, And then, coming to the realization, like, something is wrong. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. Life is not supposed to be, this difficult. It's not supposed to be what I've been taught that it is supposed to be. I'm not supposed to be out here, like, out and about, just moving around, doing my own thing, doing what I want, like, by myself. I should be part of a family. I should be part of a community. I should have a covering, have a mate. And so that's what I did. Of course, like, definitely not on my own. There's some coaching, a lot of coaching and guidance and direction to, like, move into this space of growth. So, like, when you ask, like, how did I become the woman I am today? I'm not there yet. I'm still becoming, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a work in progress. So what you see here is a work in progress. So who's sitting here right here in front of you, January, what's today? The 12th, January 12th, 2023 will not be the same person.
Mm-hmm.
2023. It's a constant work in progress. I won't even be the same person tomorrow. So I'm still becoming, the woman that I want to be, that I'm supposed to be, that I'm charged to be. I'm moving toward purpose. Yeah.
Purpose. Yeah. I think that's so important because I was listening to someone earlier today. I like to listen to a lot of different podcasts, and they were talking about our whys. And when I really was listening to it, I thought, the more we search deep for the why we do things, then how we move will be totally different. How we govern our lives, how we govern our family, our finances will be dominated by the why that we carry on the inside. And the more we are able to define that, I think we'll start to be more clear about the direction that we're supposed to head in. So that's pretty amazing. So Deidre, you and I have known each other since we were kids. Since we were kids, my aunt and your mom were best friends growing up, and we had an amazing time growing up. What happened in your life that caused you to shift to a more focused, purpose driven life? I know you mentioned that, you were out there alone and you felt like you were uncovered, without a mate. At what point in your life did you realize, hey, I need to change some things? At what point in your life did you realize that, wait a minute, this isn't the way I'm living my life, is just not working for me?
Yeah. I will say the moment that the change actually started to root itself, I guess, or take place, was when I met my head and covering, Chief Yuya, who's the head of Anu Left Global Ministries, right? But I have to be honest and also say, I think we all have that little voice in the back of our head, or in the back of our minds, or wherever, that is always saying, like, this isn't right, this is a little off right here. And right? So, and sometimes it just takes, that one event or that person that brings over that process of change that has to happen. So yeah, and it happened, like, even, like, when you're you have, and I guess, like, you could relate to this, like, you have this upbringing of, being in church, and, like, this is what you're supposed to do, but then we go away from home and we do all the things that we're not supposed to do, even though we're not supposed to do it. So that's what I mean, like, when I say, like, there's that little voice in the back of our heads, because we've been taught better, but then we go and do other things. And so when I met my covering, it was like, yeah, like, you're not a Christian because, like, you did this. I was like, yeah, I did do all those things. So how can I sit and say, like, I'm this type of person, or I follow this type of culture, when I really wasn't following it? So it was just a push that I needed to follow righteous culture, like, not even going back to this dogmatic, culture, or ideology of being in the church, but really following scripture, as Torah has pointed out, and following a Hebrew culture, righteous culture. It meant like changing the way that I eat, changing the way that I think. And I don't get it right all the time. He's quick to tell me like, yeah, you did this wrong. So it's a process. Like I said, it's a process of becoming. And I think the moment that that process started is when, I met him and, started to move within Anu culture and living.
So what do you say to those that may have known you, or how do you, not really what do you say, but how do you address questions from people that may have known you from your past and
Yeah.
known that your mother has raised you in the church and and that was, their culture in the celebration of the holidays. How do you address those questions from family members and friends that may look at you and say, Deidre, you're in a cult?
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you asked that question. Okay, so I will be honest and say, like, I don't think that I necessarily answered those questions to the best of my ability, right? To the best way that I knew how then. Like, I know better now. At the same time, I also, made it very clear, no, this is what I'm doing. Could I have done it a better way? Maybe, but I probably would have gotten the same responses, right?
Mhm.
But it literally was like a line in the sand. No, this is what I'm doing, and there's no changing it. And also, I even had to say to one family member, because I knew it about family, right? And yes, these are my blood relatives. But when we think about family, it's man, woman, child. And I also had to point out, like, well, nobody can really tell me anything about marriage and man, woman, child, because there's nobody, no one has, the model relationship, anyone. So there's no one that I can even go to advice to, because if you're going to, have someone lead you and guide you, they should be doing the things righteously and right that they're leading and guiding you in.
Mm.
And if you're a pastor of a church and talk about family, you should have a family yourself. If you're going to talk about somebody living right culture, then you should be living righteously yourself. So it's kind of like he who is without sin cast the first stone. So I had to kind of do some of that kind of talking, and also just some really practical and practical points. Here's what's happening, and to the degree that no one could refute what I was saying. And then to the comments about which have not necessarily been said to my face, but to the comments.
Normally, a lot of the times when our family and friends think a certain way, they talk among themselves before they actually tell us.
Yeah, found out, I was like, really? And it was like, well, you didn't know so and so was mad. I was like, yeah, but that was because I said I wasn't practicing pagan holidays and Babylonian holidays anymore. And I was like, no, but this is what she said. And it's like, wow, I didn't know that. But I wasn't necessarily surprised. And but to the idea that or that someone would say, like, oh, well, you're in a cult, I welcome it, because cult is a shortened form of culture, and what I'm practicing is culture, and it is the culture that we especially many of us who are melanin dominant, and I'll say many, not all, but many of us who are melanin dominant, that is where we come from. It is not what we've been indoctrinated here with, and it's not to rain on or to poo-poo anybody else's belief. It is just being very firm and standing firm in what it is that I do, not believe, but what I do and what I have
Mhm.
faith.
Gotcha. Now, does your culture that you're in, is Christ the center of your culture, or do you actually worship somebody else? Is Christ the center?
So I don't think that there should be this idea of like being the center. The creator is the center. It doesn't mean that we do not acknowledge the Christ concept or the idea of a Messiah. Like, that is very true. But it is not only rooted in things that we know about. Like, many people, when they hear Christ, they think Christianity, but there are many Christs in many different religions, if you will, or belief systems. So I would say on one hand, yes, we acknowledge that there a Christ concept and that there was an existence of Christ, or the concept of Christ, but the originator is what's at the center. The creator is what's at the center, the most high.
Okay. So we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more with Deidre about her lifestyle, and we're gonna get more into what Deidre actually does. Deidre is an advocate for health, and she's also really adamant about the plant-based diet. So I'd love to hear more about this, because if you've watched Sisterhood Check-In, you've also seen I've had Charmaine, who is also the proud owner and CEO of Herbal Naturopath, of healbynature.org. And she talked a lot about plant-based diet and how to eat as a lifestyle. So Deidre is going to talk to us a little bit from a different perspective. So we'll be right back after this. And Deidre, you can go, when we come back, you can talk to us about what you do and what you advocate for in the areas of public health. Okay. We'll be right back after this. I did a broadcast a couple of months ago, and I was saying how if you don't operate in your season, you're useless. So, and I gave the example of the fig tree, right? And I said that how Jesus cursed the fig tree because it was time. IBG Careers is looking for customer service representatives needed to service their customers from home. If you're interested, please apply at www.ibgcareers.com.
Let's work. Yo, it's go time, showtime, never backing down time. One shot, yo, make it count, yo. Crunch time, shine time, make this moment my time.
I've done some terrible things in my life.
Some of them I chose to do.
And I own these choices.
But others, I just feel like I was swept up in a series of circumstances that didn't involve my will.
They just sort of happened to me.
I've become the culmination of those choices and circumstances.
So I guess I just need to say it.
I really need some help.
Hi, I'm Deidre Lewis, author, life, and business coach, and founder of the Becoming a Woman of Proverbs Wisdom Academy. I help women take their life experiences and turn them into life lessons. I also believe that just like hurt people, transform people can transform people too. Make sure you book a call with me at www.womanofproverbscoaching.com, and I'll see you on the other side of victory. Share here with the Sisterhood Check-In audience. We'd love to hear from you. Make sure you send me an email at becomingawomanofproverbs@gmail.com, or you can send me a message on Facebook at the @handle Woman of Prov. And we'd love to share and hear all the wonderful things that God has done in your life too. Have a wonderful day. And we are back here on Sisterhood Check-In with our special guest, Deidre Sully. Welcome back. If you again are watching us via Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok, make sure you share and comment and engage with us. Make sure you put in the comments what state you are watching from, and let us know how much Sisterhood Check-In has been blessing you. So Deidre,
Mhm.
We are on part 2. So talk to us about you. I know we talked a lot before the broadcast, but talk to us about the what you say you do a lot of networking and outreach in terms
Yeah.
of public health. So talk to us about what you do and how that
Yeah.
incorporate how the community is incorporated into that.
Yes. So my background has been in public health, specifically health policy and advocacy.
Mhm.
For
Okay.
many years, I ran a tobacco control program in New York
Mhm.
City. And then toward the end, that morphed into a more executive role in developing a policy agenda for a nonprofit. And
Mhm.
so, and throughout that, on the side, I've done like consulting and small consulting gigs here and there. And so it's just like, I have to branch out. And again, this is through direction from my head because like we talked about like what was going on before that. I was all over the place. And in many cases I'm still all over the place. But me, because that's how we move. Like as women, like that's how we move. We just like do this, I want to do that. And the men they bring that direction. So that's what I needed. And so he's like, you're gonna do this, this, and this. And it's like, okay. So the podcast, all of that came like into focus and all of that was done. So I've kind of morphed from what I was doing with the 9 to 5 into more
Mhm.
consulting. And it doesn't mean that I don't necessarily do um the 9 to 5s, but like it even like what I do if I'm going to do a 9 to 5, it's like remote, right? So that there are
Mm.
opportunities to continue to do the podcast and like kind of have my
Mm.
niche as he's said like this is what you're gonna do. It's like so that I can continue doing those things. But like when it comes to the public health, it's always been a passion, and even
Mhm.
that kind of morphed from like a childhood dream. I wanted to be an OBGYN. And then it was like, I gotta go to school for how long? Like, and that's been one of my issues. Like sometimes I just don't want to sit and study. But you have to, if you're gonna do anything. And then I found that out, like in public health, like everything is, it's very crucial that things be evidence-based. So if it's
Mhm.
evidence, that means you have to study. So,
Mhm.
I went from not wanting to study one thing to have to study this, to anything
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
wanted to do. So a lot of my work, it was like, as I said, like was tobacco control, and then
Mhm.
it morphed to, or not morphed, but like graduated or expanded, I'll say, expanded into sexual
Mhm.
and reproductive health. And that came by way of work that I was charged to do with Anu Life Global Ministries with the Red Wrap, as you mentioned before. And
Mhm.
so that is an initiative that was created and thought up by Anu's Chief Jegna, Chief Yuya Asan Anu, to assist homeless women and girls who are unsheltered with receiving menstrual hygiene products. And so that's what I do. Like, so I go and liaise like the skills that I learned, throughout my time in the nonprofit world, going to liaise with homeless shelters and other community-based organizations to hold events to provide these products to women and girls who are in these situations, or women and girls who are in need.
Mm.
And hopefully we'll be spreading into schools and things like that. And now that I've moved to a different state, we're going to do it down here as well. So I'm now in the South, so we're going to do that down here as well. Most of our events were in the New York, New Jersey, and Philadelphia area. And we still do events up there because I'm kind of like back and forth up and down the Eastern Seaboard. But we're going to do those here as well. And you can definitely, I encourage viewers like to definitely visit anulifeglobal.org/red wrap. And you can go there and you can donate to the cause. We do donations via Cash App, or you can actually send in physical products. We usually do the sending in of physical products when we're close to an event. So anytime you can go do the Cash App, but if you really want to send in products, you can definitely shoot an email to redraporganizer@anuglobal.org. Oh my gosh, I'm so tongue tied. Redrap at anulifeglobal.org. And you can contact me, and it's actually me who will respond to that email if you really want to send products. And the truth be told, I actually prefer the products because then I don't have to go shopping. A little bit daunting, and it's like if I have the products in hand, then I know what I have, and then I can plan accordingly. So yeah, we have all of those things, but yeah, it morphed into sexual and reproductive health on that front, and I really really liked it because I was like, this is also public health, and it's just from a different angle, but this is also advocacy because this is talking about it. It forced me to have to learn something other than tobacco, which is what I've been doing, which for any of your listeners who are familiar with public health, it can be very stylish. Like people who are like, well, I do maternal and child health and this is what I do. Well, I work on diabetes and this is what I do. I work on tobacco, this is what I do. Where, all of these things are actually related, like interrelated. And I think, yeah, there's definitely in the last several years been this move to find that place where things intersect and like make it come together, because you realize like people are not siloed. If they're experiencing one thing, when it comes to disparities, people don't just experience one, experience multiple disparities, especially people who are in lower socioeconomic status, or they experience it because of their ethnicity, especially people of colors, namely deeply melanated people. So the disparities are there, and they're not isolated. They're often experienced together. So I really appreciated him providing me that opportunity, even though it wasn't for me. It was because other people needed help. It was like, here, you just go help them do that. And at the same time, it was like, it helped me as well. So I'm always appreciative of those learning moments. And it's a really good feeling to be able to help others who need it, not even necessarily fortunate. It's just I'm in this space right now and I need help.
Gotcha. So was your desire to be a part of this organization driven more so by the desire to for the family and for what they were doing in the community, or was it just something that you just felt like you were missing on the inside and you just felt like this is actually filling a void? What is it about this organization that pulls you and draws you into the community of what is it, Anu life? Yeah,
Anu.
I know. Okay.
I would say it's a mixture of both. Now, if I could like parse out like how much of one, I don't know if I can do that, but it's a mixture of both. And I think for most people who find Anu, it's because they want to grow. Who doesn't want to evolve and grow? Well, maybe there are many people who don't want it. They're like,
yeah, I can name a few. I can name a few.
There are many of us who want to evolve and grow.
Yeah.
And we're doing it at different rates. I am so not on. I have not been on a fast track, and I need to get there. But there are many of us who want to evolve and grow, and also move to a space that provides healing and health. And acknowledges like who we are as a people, who we're supposed to be, what our culture actually is, and then reclaiming it, right? And I learned that along the way. So I guess like in the beginning it was like, oh, what's this? And there was a curiosity. And then as you learn, it's like, no, this is right. This makes sense. We know when we hear something right? And so it's kind of difficult to just go back to what you were doing, even though some people have done it, but then that means that they weren't really invested and weren't all the way there. But I think it's difficult to hear something that's right, and then
we call it in the Christian community, the double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways.
And don't trust double speak. Don't be like, you have to be yes, we have to acknowledge that there's a thing called duality, but like you can't be 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And I think like, many people, especially like in the church, it's like a 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but nobody talks about it, right? Because, oh, that's just what people do. But most people are 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And in our new, there is no 1 foot, 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You have to be in it. Like, and as one of our brothers always says, it has to be in you and not on you. And so
Mm-hmm.
they take some work to working on yourself and holding ourselves accountable to get to the end and not on, but
Mm-hmm.
part of the journey. And so that, I think that's what keeps me there, because I don't think that there is a going backwards is not an option.
Mm, absolutely. So is this, are you, when you, I know that you gear toward the community, is it more so just young women, or is it women and children, or is it families? What is your target audience in terms of serving the community? Who's your targeting audience?
So the program
Mhm.
ministry that I work on, Red Wrap, is specifically women and
Mhm.
girls. However, I know does have many
Okay.
initiatives and ministries that focus on men, women, children, like in separate groups and as families.
Mhm.
You can find a lot of them on our website. What we're doing. Chief has gone back and forth to the continent, specifically like Ghana, Nigeria, and Tanzania for many years, and has
Mhm.
establishments and programs that he's done there as well. And of course, like COVID just put a wrench in everything, but it doesn't
Mm,
mean things are stopping.
right.
Not be like a movement as we wanted to, because I was really looking forward to going to Ghana, and then COVID reared its ugly head. But
Mm,
but things don't stop. We still can be connected. That's what the world, the internet is for, and Wi-Fi.
yes. Yes. I was watching a TikTok video yesterday, and it was talking. There were a group of people that were in Ghana, and these were like Americans and people from different parts of the country, and they were talking about living in Ghana, relocating there, and how much the cost of living was there. And I was like, wow, they were like they can live off of $30,000 a year, and they were living pretty comfortable. So I was like, when you said Ghana, I was like, oh yeah, that kind of remind me of the
Yeah.
TikTok video I was
I,
looking at yesterday.
I One thing that we do, because I've been watching a lot, when I realized, like, it was an option, I was like, well, let me look and learn about the country. Let me see what other people are doing.
Mhm.
And one thing that really stood out to me was like, yeah, a lot of
Mhm.
people are going, and I think a lot of it happened with which was very commercial, with the year of return, right? And that's where all the ads and things came from, and people going to Ghana and living there. But one
Mhm.
thing, at least for me, that I had to recognize, because I had not been there yet, I was like, I don't speak the language, and like, these are things that I have to learn, which in Anu is encouraged, like learning at least 10 words of different languages. Um, I was like, you can't, yes, the cost of living is cheaper, but it doesn't mean quit your job and just go move to Ghana. You
Right,
know,
right,
you still have to have
right,
some
exactly.
form of income, whether it be active or passive. And
Mhm.
so it's really important to understand economics. So education, like educating ourselves on wealth and economics, is key. Not being financial infants is definitely one of the things that is promoted and taught within Anu. Like, you have
Mhm.
to have and even though, and then there's a hierarchy. Yeah, there's a hierarchy. There's, it's the creator, then men, then women, then junior women, and then there's children. And so I follow that hierarchy. So even though I'm following that, I'm still expected to not be a financial infant and be able to be an industrious woman, and pulling in, doing things that create passive income and things like that. Even like what you have here is like, creating passive income. So like, I'm like, maybe I can graduate to this. We can pull True Health Live up. So, but also for your listeners, I do
And
also
for
have.
those that are watching too, we do have sponsorship. So if you are definitely interested in being a sponsor for the Sisterhood check-in, you can also reach out to me at becoming a woman of proverbs at gmail.com, where we do allow other businesses that have different things that they're doing in the community and they want to promote it on our podcast, we do allow that. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm like, I need to do that because right now we just talk about health and we promote it on the platforms and in and out. I'm like, all right, we need to do some expansion. So like
Mm-hmm.
even here is like, industries. So like learning how
Mm-hmm.
to take what's given to me or what I'm directed to do and then expand it.
Mm. Yeah. I think that's the thing. I was listening to somebody earlier and she made an interesting point and she said, if you don't figure out exactly what it is that you're supposed to be doing, then you're going to
Mhm.
be spending a lot of your time just wasting, doing things. And it's funny because a lot of us do. We spend a lot of our time doing other things, who we are and what we're supposed to do. And then we look up and then we're like, dang, I
Time.
wasted all of these years and now
Mm-hmm.
I'm this age. And it's like, man, if I had that awareness back 20 years ago, where would I be?
Yeah.
Emotionally, where would I be financially? But the thing I'm also learning too, because I used to have the mindset of, oh my God, I'm wasting. It's now, let me tell you something, Deidre. I can do many things, but one thing I cannot do is wasting time. I hate to waste time because you can get your money back, but you cannot get your time back. And
Mhm.
when you feel like you have wasted your time, it is the most frustrating thing. But what I have learned is that sometimes the things that we go through in different our life basically is just there's a certain mindset that you need to get to the next level or to get to the next place that you want to be in your life. And so sometimes certain things have to happen in your life to position you
Yep.
be in that mindset. You have to position yourself to be in that mindset because that's really what true prosperity and growth is. Prosperity is really growth in every area of your life. And when you're not taking the time to grow in the area of your mind, and you're not taking time to grow in the area of your finances and grow in the areas of parenting or being a spouse or is anything that doesn't grow, it starts to and I gave this example many podcasts ago that anything that's stagnated starts to stink. Think about it. If you put a dozen of eggs on a table and you don't do anything with it, it starts to go bad. It starts to die. So if you're not in the area, if you're not progressing, you're digressing. And
Mhm.
so Bob Proctor said that, and that thing always stuck in my mind. I'm like, man, I have to always position myself to be in an area in a growing mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, because if I don't, then what's going to happen is I'm going to digress and things will start dying. And I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want things to die off prematurely before it's time, you know.
Mm.
And so yeah, I think growth is great, and I think everyone should desire to grow in whatever area that they want to see themselves in. But I think most importantly is, like I said originally, you have to know your why. You have to know why you're doing what you're doing, because that's the only way you're going to be consistent. That's the only way you're going to be dedicated. That's the only way you're going to be persistent, is if you understand why. Because if you're just doing things just because, eventually after a while, you'll do it for a while, but
Yeah.
then you'll be like, whatever. Like, I've been doing Sisterhood check-in for almost 3 years, and dinner with the coaches for almost two. And one thing I realized in the beginning, you want to give up because you think about all the trials and things that you go through, and you're like, oh, forget it. I'm just gonna be done. I'm just tired. I don't want to do this. But
Yeah.
with me, I've had those moments, and then I wind up coming right back. I always still get those butterflies in my stomach right before the broadcast begins, because I feel like I'm in an area that I am supposed to be in. I supposed to be sharing my experiences, my growth. I wrote in my book, there's at the end of the day, there's two things that we're in control of. And for those of you that haven't read my book, you can get it on Amazon, or you can go to my store. You can go to my website, www.womanofproverbscoaching.com. But in my book, I talk about two things that we are in control of. We're in control of our perspective and our response. And what I've learned is that I don't have to respond to everything anymore. I used to always say something, have to, now I realize I'm in control of my perspective and I'm in control of my response. And not everything needs my response or warrants my response. So
Mhm.
when I do, but just know when it is time for me to respond, I'm going to have a whole earful.
You know, I think that what you said is key, and I but not but, and I think it if it's purpose driven, then that's when it all makes sense. Like if you're moving
Mhm,
on purpose, then no, you're not going to give a response to every little thing, because all those little
mhm,
things may not be in alignment with what you're set here to do or what you figured out, the creator, the job that, or the question, because we're all here to complete a task, whatever it is that your task that the creator set down for you. And even the death, I see it more as wasting away, because when you're growing and you do get to the point where it's like the question is answered and there's no more to be done, is perfection, and perfection is death too, because if it's perfect, there's nowhere else to go. So like when you're not moving in purpose, and you're wasting time, as you said, it's like you're also wasting away. It's kind of
mhm,
like a good death versus a bad death, I guess. Like that's the way that I can you
mhm,
know conceptualize it in my head. Like, yeah, they're both
mhm.
they're both death, but one is, I guess, the one that you want so that you can move to the next level, right? And the other one is like you just wasted away into nothingness.
Right. Absolutely. Well, we are coming to the end of our podcast. And Deidre, I just wanted to tell you thank you so much for taking time to
Thank you for.
come. And I'd love to have you back. I am doing something different this year with
Mhm.
Sisterhood Check-In. For the past 2 years, I've had guests on pretty much every episode, every week. And I wanted to do something a little different this year. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to be able to have maybe two of the broadcast where I do testimonials and interview different women. But then there's going to be one week where I just basically come on and share what's on my heart and what I feel like God has given me. But I do want to have one week where I have different women from different walks of life, and we have conversations about life,
Mhm.
about things that matter in our community, things that matter as women. Because one thing I realize is that we are women, we're mothers, we're wives, and we all have a common denominator, and that is to be able to serve our family, to be the best parents, you know, to make sure that we're being the best at who we are. And I think when we come together, to be able to discuss those issues and to be able to discuss it with different people, because everybody has different perspectives and they live their lives. And so it's something new that I wanted to try this year. So if it's something that you're interested in becoming a part of on maybe I'm thinking about doing it like maybe the third Fridays of every month, where I can get at least 6 women. And if you are listening and you are also interested and becoming one of the women on our panel, please reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram. Send me a message in the inbox and just say, hey, I'm interested in being on the panel. Or if you have a testimonial that you want to share with us, let us know. I believe that we're all here to answer a question that, and to our generation, like Miles Monroe says, each of us have a question that God has given somebody to answer to help us define whatever that is. And so if you have and I also believe, just like hurt people, I also believe transform people can transform people too. And I believe we're all here for a reason. And I believe, and that's one of the things that I do as a coach, is I help people take their life experiences, because I think, Deidre, sometimes when we're going through different things, I love being transparent. And that wasn't always easy for me to be
Yeah.
transparent, because when you grow up in an area where everybody is private and nobody wants to, and we live in a world where nobody wants you to know their business. I'm not telling anybody my business. What I've learned is, even as a
Our
parent.
moms were CIA. You don't share what's
Mhm.
going on outside of this house. Like,
What how your mom used to say, how on the refrigerator, what you see here, what you say here, let it
mhm,
stay here when you
yeah,
leave here.
that that was in melanated household well before Vegas, right? Stays in here. Okay. Don't air your dirty laundry. So like moving in this this system of like secrecy. And like,
Mhm.
yes, there is a level of confidence and
And discretion. There is a and
privacy.
discretion. Mhm.
Use our, use our, be discerning in what we should share. But it kind of moved into this space where it's like then there's no room to say what's really going on so it can be addressed or even hold ourselves accountable, because it's like we're not supposed to talk about it, whatever it
Right.
may be.
And it's also our level of discretion has a level of secrecy, you
Yeah.
know, up in our era, there's a lot, though we were encouraged to keep a lot of things secret,
Mhm.
there's a lot of things that took place. I mean, keep a lot of things in discretion. There's a lot of things that happen secretly
Yeah.
also. And
Yeah.
so
And
what I've learned, I was one of those parents, I'm not going to, but I realized that there is a certain level of transparency that has to be that has helped a lot of women that I have been in the midst of one by one. With me living in a shelter, I've lived in in a few shelters, adult life, and had raising children. And what I've realized is that my transparency, a lot of women come through a lot of the things that they've gone through, and that's one of the reasons why I've decided to go in a direction of coaching, which is really, a coach is just somebody that comes alongside of you, that is there to help you through different arenas or different things in your life that you may need, that you may not even notice. And
Mhm.
it's funny because not all of it is, some of it is strategy, but some of it is just you being gifted to be able to. There's some things I never went to school for it, but I'm telling you, I'm just gifted to do it. And I know that it's a God-given gift because it has changed people's lives. And there's things that I've done in term that I'm like, man, like I can't even believe that I was even able
Yeah.
to do that. And I knew that God's hand was on me to be able to do that. And so, I say all that to say is that, one of the things I do is I teach women how to take their life experiences and turn them into survival guides for other women. Because I believe that each of us have something on the inside that we've overcome, that we have mastered and have overcome it, and we are in a position, and I'm not saying this in every situation, in every circumstances, but there are some things that we've gone through that we can use as survival guides for the women that are behind us. The Bible says the older women shall teach the younger women,
Yep.
how to love their husbands, how to. There's so many things that we can do as we grow up, like we were kids. There's so many things we watched our parents do, and that's just something that I instill in my kids. It's like I'm always, when I'm teaching them or talking to them, I'm always thinking and
Yeah.
looking at the perspective of making every moment a teachable moment. And that's been one of my things in what I've done. So
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because it's like, yeah, we've watched them do so many, both right and wrong. So
right
like,
and wrong. Hmm.
like either one is something, both we learn from. We learn how to do and pass on to the next, and then we also learn what not to do or what needs to be shifted. And
Hmm.
what you're talking about is like really what I've learned under my head was knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Like, especially like when you're talking about like being in the shelter and like you coaching women, it's like, well, you have knowledge of it because you went through it. There's a doing, and that's where you
Right.
become wise and then can turn around and teach it, and coach others,
Hmm.
because then we have understanding of what the steps are and what the process is, how to come through a
Hmm.
certain situation. And that's kind of where we should all be. And that's even what I try to do when it comes to True Health Live. It's like I have a knowledge of, health policy, I have a knowledge of advocacy, I've done it. And so now I'm going to turn around and help other people and empower them to do it for themselves or do it for someone else.
Absolutely. And so for those of you that want to donate to this organization, you can go to www.onulifeglobal.org, where you can support. They do offer different health stuff to the community. So if you're able to donate, you can go to that website. If you want to know more information about Diedre, you can also go and visit her on her website at www.deidresully.com. Diedre, I am so excited. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this won't be your last time. It's been so good
Of
to
course
see
not.
you, especially seeing you, being there. Thank you so much for your support, for being there during my Aunt Ra's funeral. It, was a really, really tough time. Still in shock,
Yeah.
at the reality of the fact that she's gone. It's
Yeah.
just like, wow,
Yeah.
you just never know. You just can't take life for granted. You can't take the people in your life for granted because they could be here today and gone tomorrow. Um,
Yeah.
but
It
thank you.
so
Thank you so
quickly.
much. And I apologize too, because I know you lost your mom not too long before,
Right.
Auntie Roz. So I'm
Mhm.
wishing you also the best. I'm gonna say something. I'm sorry. It was a little delay in the
Oh no, I was just saying, yeah, 2022 was rocky for
yeah.
all of us. Yeah, it was rocky.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like for
Yeah.
many people are going through it, and you know, I'm still trying to like grapple with like transition is normal. That's
Mm, yep.
guaranteed. It's just learning how to be here, still on this plane, and knowing that everybody, we're not all gonna be here at the same time. So
Learning
yeah,
how to cope and adapt without them. And even though whether you're prepared for them to leave or whether it happened tragically, um, it's the learning how to adapt, without them that is it is the difficult part.
yeah,
And I have my moments. There's some moments I'm like, wow, we've had some time, we've had a little bit of time, not a whole lot.
mhm,
So for it to happen the way it did, it was a total shock. So it is an adjustment,
yeah,
because she was the matriarch of our family. She was the
mhm,
matriarch of our family. And so if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't even know half the people that in my family that I know, and wouldn't have had an opportunity to meet you and Carlia and so many others. So I'm really grateful for that. And she was really taking pictures. So that's the wonderful thing, is that we have enough pictures to go through and look at all the memories from us being small to to
yeah,
becoming young adults. So I really thank God for her life and the things that she's contributed to my life. Is because of her that she's a major contributor to the woman that I have become.
yeah,
So I'm really grateful for that. So, and your mom too. Your mom, your mom and Roz were close, and Barbara and Marshariki,
yeah,
and so it's a blessing to have a group of friends that you have from start to finish. That
yeah.
start in the
Really
beginning with you, and then
start to
yeah.
literally. It was interesting because as I was sitting like in the church during the service, I was just like, for years, like I called on Roz and Auntie Roz because my
Mhm.
mom was big on titles, and it was
Mhm.
like you address an adult without a title. And then when you're a child, like you're calling everybody all these things. That's what they are. And as
Mhm.
I realized, like, oh, she's not my aunt, like by blood, but like she's my aunt. And then and the way
Yeah.
that happened was because, like, but are Nadira and Auntie are cousins? Like, trying to figure like who's related to who, and how all that is going on.
Mhm.
Because you have family reunions in the mix, and you're meeting all these people, and it's like
Mhm.
related to who. So like for years, I think I was telling somebody, I was like, I had like extra cousins that weren't really my. It was so, and that was like Nadira and her two brothers. Like it's like those are my.
Isn't it funny because it's like I think Carlia was the only one that only had one brother. What one brother? You had your brothers. How are your brothers doing anyway?
They're
I
doing
bet.
well. They're doing well. Everybody, we all old together, as my mother used to say. She'd be like, "You're young now, but we'll all be old together." And I remember
Mm.
one of my Earth days, I woke up and there was like a pain somewhere. I was like, "Oh, I guess that's the oldness coming together." I was like, "Oh wow, that happened quick."
I'm big on ginger, girl. Let me tell you something. I'm ginger because I've had some days. Let me tell you, I've had some days where I've had that oof, oof, and now so I'm doing things to stay active. But I'm telling you, I was skating, Deidre, and I was out on the skating ring, and I was just going, and I fell. I got back on the floor, and I tell you, that's been the hardest thing recovering from that. So that's why I'm like, ooh, but I'm
Yeah.
the ginger, the ginger girl. Let me tell you something. I've been drinking. Talk about health, girl. Let me tell you, I could run out of milk in the house. I could run out of everything else, but you will never see me run out of ginger. Because let
I
me
love
tell you something.
it. So spicy. I love
I
it.
have to have it. I have to. It was funny because I went to a fine. I thought, I was the only one that, people laugh at me because my family and friends are like, you are just, just so into this ginger thing. So I went to a wedding. A friend of mine, a business colleague and sister of mine, went to a African wedding. So beautiful. Oh my God. It was so amazing. Just the way the ceremonial, stuff that was going on. And I had seen things that I have never seen in an actual wedding before. And I thought, wow, that's nice. Well, they were like, they were pouring out the juice. So I thought they were pouring orange juice. So I was sitting at the table and we were eating all this food and stuff. And I'm like, I'm out here just rocking, eating the food. I'm embracing the presents. So I'm like, dang, they got orange juice over there. I'm going to go get me a cup of orange juice. So I'm like, dang, they drinking that orange juice. They don't have nothing but orange juice and water. So I'm like, oh wow. So I go to where they pouring out the what I consider to be the orange juice, and it's ginger. So
Yeah.
I see them like pouring like whole cups of ginger, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, give me some of that orange juice. And they like, oh, this is ginger. I'm like, oh, that's right up my alley. But I had never drank it in such large quantity. Usually I'm drinking shots of ginger here
Uh,
and there. They had cups of ginger. Girl, I went to go drink it. I said, boy, no wonder they party all night. They got a whole cup of ginger.
yeah. Yeah. Different kind of caffeine. Yeah, it's an energy booster. I
Oh
love
my gosh. So that's been my thing. I don't do the energy drinks. If I'm tired or whatever, I will drink me some
it.
ginger
Mhm.
in a minute. That's probably why I got so much energy because I'm telling you, I drink me some ginger, girl. I plan on being young for a long time. Like Auntie used to say, Auntie said, when Preach is 30, which is my daughter, my oldest, when Preach is 30, you'll be 50 and I'll be 70. And I was like, and I was like, 50, that's old. And girl, next month I'll be 49. I'm getting close. I'm getting close.
But that's a blessing.
It
That's
is. I want to age
don't
gracefully.
take for
Gracefully.
yes. Yeah.
Yes. I want to be old, walking with a cane. But there are some moments I get up,
Oh,
girl. I'll be like, ooh, my
well,
leg.
that's what the right eating is for. And it's not just like
Yes.
yeah, it's
Yes.
good for weight loss. And I'm actually even doing a plan like, juicing for January. So like I just have like
Hmm.
all this stuff on social media, like I'm, putting like different recipes
Hmm.
and different blends that I try and like the importance of like using
Hmm.
glass bottles. That post is coming soon.
Yeah.
But the juicing, like I'm and every juice that I have, ginger is
Hmm.
always in it. And I always put
Oh,
even like
yes.
olive, like that spice, that kick is key for me. It's like crucial. But it's not even just about like the weight loss and all that. Like because
Hmm.
it's a detox. Like I'm like breaking out every time I juice, like I break out because it's like, oh, the
Mm.
toxic, oh, we gotta go. They're getting evicted. So they start coming out like all sorts of ways. And but yeah, it's important because like no, like because a part of like I have to be honest, like a part of like losing my mom was also about
Mm.
like lifestyle, like healthy eating and things like that. It does take a
Mhm.
toll, and even that goes into the health and
Mhm.
that goes the issues that happen in melanated communities, how we eat, and not wanting to turn over and eat something better. Like people act like it's gonna
Mhm.
kill. Nobody's forcing anybody to become vegan or plant based, but
Girl,
people
we the
act like
chicken community. We our culture, we like chicken. We chicken of a tie.
like, but you can have salad without having chicken. You're gonna die because don't have chicken or shrimp or any, people act like, eating vegetables for like even a day, it's gonna like be the death of them. And it's not. And truth be told, the other thing is like, again, this is what I mean about, the idea, not the idea of the reality and the truths of like the 1 foot in, 1 foot out. We, even in church, the Bible is what people go by. That is the tone. And it specifically gives us the laws of how we're supposed to eat, what is clean and unclean. Chicken's on the list of unclean. So it's like, yeah, we can call ourselves, people can call themselves Christians, but you're not really moving like you're supposed to, because you're not supposed to be eating that. So it's like, even with the, like I said, it's more than just the weight loss. It is following like the laws of Leviticus and Deuteronomy of how we're supposed to eat. So like, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm not going to eat meat anymore, or I'm just going to be plant-based. It's like, what is clean, what is unclean, as per the laws set down by the Most High. So like,
I think also it's important to understand that there's a reason, when you study these animals, on why it's not, just from what I've learned with Charmaine, it's just that, you don't even have to, even for some people, you don't even have to really go into depth, especially because there's a lot of people that feel like you have to be spiritual in order to practice that concept of eating healthy. There's just some things that you need. There's just some proven things that just happens. Even David was like, when he told, when he told the king, look, just prove me, let me just eat, let me just eat these vegetables, for this amount of time, and just look at my skin. And I mean, Daniel, not David, Daniel, let me just eat vegetables. I don't have to eat, what the king offered up. Let me just eat the vegetables and just watch my skin. And that's what I always say to people, is that let your life be the light. Let people see your light, to where they look at you and they say, oh, your skin looks good, or or you seem like you have a lot of energy. Well, there's some things that I've done that leaves them to question, like, what are you doing? Why is your skin why are you looking younger? I feel like I look a lot younger. When I looked at some of my pictures from back in the day, I was like, wow, I was really heavy. Like, my face was like, woof. I had skin, I never really was a real big acne person. Like, I didn't have a lot of acne, but I did have like some blemishes and dark circles. And a lot of that was just not sleeping, stress, and not really taking care of myself. And so now I look at myself now and I'm like, wow, I feel like I look a lot younger than I did back then, because there's a lot of lifestyle changes that has taken place, where I don't eat a lot of the same things that I used to eat anymore. I'm not 100% vegan or plant-based, but I do eat 70% of the time. I do eat fairly well, because it just makes me feel better. I don't like to feel sick.
Yeah, and we're all at different stages. Like, I'm never the one to like, oh, you should be. I will say you should eat healthy, but like, never the one to be like, to force anything. But point out, well, this is what the book says we should be doing. Point it out, fine. But I'm not gonna like force my will on you, because then that's wrong as well. Because maybe you're not supposed to be following the same thing that I'm doing. Everybody's body is different, everybody's question is different, and you also may be part of a different crew.
Well, honey, right? I'm on the chicken ministry. I'm telling you, that's the one thing that I'm I'm on the chicken ministry. Like, I have not been I don't know, it's just something about them wings, girl. Now I have been trying like cauliflower wings, and I do like oyster mushrooms. I have grown a love for oyster mushrooms, but
substitute that a lot of people are showing, like giving tutorials on how to use, and I think,
oh my gosh, I love it.
There's like some dangers in that too, but I understand the need for it, because it's the idea of like, oh, let's just deep fry it, and it tastes just like chicken, just deep fry it. But it doesn't mean that I won't be trying some of those things. I have yet to have like one of the oysters that are supposed to be with chicken. To eat one of those. But
I've never really been a mushroom eater, but I will eat the oyster mushrooms.
I am a mushroom eater. Like I like the cremini, I like shirataki and
I like the
the
shiitake mushrooms too.
shiitake mushrooms and the portobello mushrooms. But
Oh
I
yeah,
have yet
portobello. Yeah,
the oysters to make kind of
yeah. I
chicken.
like the oyster mushrooms because I like the texture mainly.
Yeah, I
Especially
think
when
that's
I'm doing like stir fry. I'm not really a fryer. I don't really fry anything like that, like deep fry, but I do like stir fry. Like I do like to stir fry like the quinoa rice and like we've had some recipes on Tuesdays where we've actually had, which I'll probably start implementing. I just have to find a time to do it, but we have implemented some recipes with the kids. Like my
yeah.
children love quinoa patties. They
Oh, really?
love quinoa patties. And at first I was like, oh my God, they're not gonna love it because I thought if I eat healthy, they've been used to eating chicken nuggets and pizza, they're not gonna go
Mm.
for this, but they love quinoa patties. It's the only kind of rice that I really buy. I like quinoa rice. I have like cases of them. I love them. But cause and you can do so much with it, but I have a friend of mine, she has different recipes and stuff like that that
Mm.
she has sent, and I'm like, wow, eating healthy is just not as bad as before. Back then it was like you would look at eating healthy as like, oh, now it's like, wow, that's healthy. That's plant-based. It's like there's a guy on TikTok. I can't think of what his name is. And he even makes what do you call it? The wraps out of two ingredients, oatmeal and water.
Oh,
And I'm like looking at him like, what? Like he literally makes a lot of vegan dishes that
mm.
look completely amazing. I said, I've got to try some of that. Now that is, if I can, and like Charmaine says, she always say, if you can switch out, something, if you can exchange something for something else, it makes it a lot easier,
It does. But the
it makes
truth
it a
is,
lot easier.
these things have been there for a long time. It's just that
Hmm.
we were growing up, it was like an apple a day, or drink your glass of milk and 8 glasses of water a day, or it's
Hmm.
or you have to have 3 meals a day, and this was all like programming and indoctrination. These types of
Yeah.
food, like what we're seeing now, people have been doing them for years. I think what the newer parts are is like the making the substitutions for the things that people like to eat, like making things that, oh, it's kind of like chicken, oh, this is like steak, oh, this is like pulled
Mhm.
pork. But like people have been eating like these plant-based meals in like really cool ways for a while. It just was not promoted the way bacon and eggs were, so
Oh,
that's
Jesus.
what
Something about that
promoted.
bacon. Lord have
Because
mercy. I'm sorry. I got
it helps.
lost in the bacon.
Right, it helps, but it helped promote like pig industry or whatever was helping promote the dairy industry. Like that's how things
Yeah.
move. So like whenever the masses or what's being told to us is like, oh, do this, and it was shared with me by my head, like you do the
Hmm.
opposite, because clearly
Yeah.
like they're trying to lead you down like one road, so like you have to kind of pull back and say like what's
Hmm.
happening, do the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, the opposite is like not eating,
Hmm.
all the that's one. Not eating like all
Yeah.
the things are good for us, because and even like our bodies are different. Most
Hmm.
milk should not be eating dairy. Like it doesn't really
Yeah.
agree
Dairy.
with
Yeah.
dairy
I
does
can't even
not.
eat. I can't even eat like I can't. I don't even drink milk like that. But when I do drink milk, I have to have oat milk. I cannot drink like regular
Yeah.
milk. It literally tears my stomach apart. Even when like I
It,
like coffee and tea, it has to be oat creamer. Like it has to be oat. Like I can't drink that stuff anymore. It just tears my stomach to pieces. Like literally.
yeah. Yeah. And how many people do
Yeah.
you know? I'm not supposed to have it, but it's so good. And they will suffer through the pain
Yep.
just
Mhm.
because of the sugar addiction. Let's just call it what
It's-
it
It is the sugar. It is definitely the sugar. It is
is.
definitely the sugar. That is for sure. That is for sure. Well, guys, we appreciate each and every one of you that have stayed with us on our broadcast. Again, Diedre, thank you so much for joining us here in the Sisterhood check-in podcast. And if you again are watching and you want to donate to Deidre's organization, you can also I have it on the screen. You can also go. It's right at the bottom of the screen. Go to onulifeglobal.org, or you can visit Deidre at deidresully.com. Also, I wanted to also make aware I have it's 2023, and it's the year that if we're going to start planning, it's best to have a planner that suits your every need. As a woman of God, I love to plan my day. I love to plan my life with God. And so in the way that I incorporate that is with this planner, it's a planner and a prayer journal. So this gives you the opportunity to jot down your thoughts, jot down all the things that are going through your mind. It allows you the opportunity to put down affirmations that you may want to, and these are affirmations that you may write. There's also scriptures on different categories when it comes to healing, relationships, eating, health wise. All of it is relevant to what we're discussing today. So make sure that you go to the website www.womanofproverbscoaching.com so that you can grab your 2023 planner and prayer journal. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on Sunday with our special guest on Sunday with Dinner with the Coaches at 7 p.m. Don't forget to watch, and make sure you call up a friend and let them know that we will be back on Sunday at 7 p.m. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day. I did a broadcast a couple of months ago, and I was saying how if you don't operate in your season, you're useless. So, and I gave the example of the fig tree, right? And I said that how Jesus cursed the fig tree because it was time. IBG Careers is looking for customers.